So it seems like Psylocke got her hands full. You'll see what happens. My name is Dorian. This is SCN Comics. We'll continue our covers of Psylocke. With number 5. Our story starts off in the taxidermy's mansion, where we see these butterflies flying around, and then we see Psylocke, and she has these huge needles sticking out of her arms and her hips. Like, that is brutal. And she wakes up to the taxidermy's voice because one of the butterflies has a speaker on it, and when she wakes up, that's when she sees the needles sticking in her arms and her hips. So to try to use her powers, and she can't. And then that's when the butterfly with speaker on it says, oh, you want to try to use the powers? Well, you can't, because I dipped the needles into something special to suppress your powers. And then she looks around and she sees that the room that she's in is fully dedicated to her. So then the dude finally comes out and it's like, Quanin, your past is just as elusive as you are. Like, do you know how long and how hard I had to search to find all this stuff? But he's like, if my illness has taught me anything, it's to be patient. So then he starts to explain how he was born with this rare genetic disease. He has these painful growths that's all over his body. His body's also weakened from the disease, and he has a fragile immune system. Most people with this rare disease die within the first few months of life. But because his parents were rich, they pretty much had the doctors flood his body with all kinds of chemicals until he was healthy enough to survive and leave the hospital. And they instantly quarantined off a wing of their mansion where he never left. Never went outside. He just stayed in that wing. Because of his fragile immune system, going outside meant instant death. So Psylocke's like, hold on. Genetic condition at birth? That means you're not a mutant. And he's like, no, I don't have an X gene, so technically I'm not a mutant. But my condition got me fascinated with mutations. So Psylocke, like I said, doesn't have her powers and she's paralyzed to whatever he dipped those needles in. Slowly but surely, she's trying to move things. Right now, she's just trying to move her one finger. And also, too, she's trying to keep him talking to give her time to hopefully finally figure out a way to get out of there. He collects different species that are rare, but also, too, that show a mutation. He brings them in here and he preserves them forever. And he has a lot of species that are extinct. So he's like Marvel's Brainiac, but nobody's in a jar alive. They're in a glass case, but they're dead. Dead as a doornail. And just because he has her doesn't mean that all this is done and over with. No. See, he knows Psylocke's history, and he knows that she won't be complete until he brings in Bessie Braddock. He's like, the woman that wore your body like a glove for years. The first Psylocke. Once I have her, then this will be complete. So the Psylocke thinks back her time with the hand, and she's just like, you know what? I am tired of being manipulated. Like, I'm done. So I guess she got so pissed off that poison didn't mean a thing. All of a sudden her powers come just shining through, and she breaks through the needles, which had to hurt. And she's like, I am an X-Man. So all of his taxidermy creation starts to attack Psylocke. And I'm thinking to myself, like, you just had 2 needles in your hip. How are you flipping around doing anything? But she is. And she's taking all these things out. When I mean taking them out. She breaks the leg of a wolf, and then she takes that part and she puts it in the crocodile's mouth. And then she goes to one of the cases where he has some of her kunais, and she's like, oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. And combined with her powers, she starts using it, and it's just a taxidermy bloodbath. So quickly, this dude has no more allies, and he realizes that he is in some deep. And Psylocke's like, don't worry. I am not going to kill you, because what will be the point? You want to learn anything? No. See, you've been in this home too long. Like, you haven't been able to experience anything. But I'm going to fix that. And she takes her patented psychic knives and plunge it straight into this dude's head. And it's like, now you're going to experience all the emotions. When I mean all of them. Loneliness, terror, elation, heartbreak, hatred, fear, compassion, longing, fury, hope. So he's like, how do I deal with all these emotions that I've never felt? And so I was like, most people feel these feelings and they get around just fine. So figure it out. And she just leaves. So I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, this is the dude that wants to kidnap mutant children and pretty much taxidermy them, and you just give them some emotions and you leave? Like, I wasn't really feeling that, not gonna lie to you. So she gets back to the factory and Beast is patching her up because she got holes in her hips, her arms. Like, truth be told, she probably shouldn't have been able to walk, let alone take all those things out, but comics. So Cyclops was like, Quantum, you had one job, now it's to take it easy. And now somehow I feel like I need to force more vacation on you. And Quantum's like, please don't. Like, just bring me back, Cyclops. Please. So Cyclops like, you know what? I'm not even going to fight you. Heal up, and then once you're healed, I'll let you know what the mission is. So then we cut to John Greycrow's cabin, where Psylocke walks in, and John Greycrow's like, those kids are great. A little bit enthusiastic, but they're great. And so I was like, I appreciate it because you're the only person I trusted to watch over those kids while I had to go take care of business with the taxidermist. So they kiss, and then John's like, look, we need to eat this rabbit stew before it gets cold. It's my secret recipe. And so I was like, secret? You probably got it from a cookbook. And John Greycrow's like, yeah, and it's the secret. So she goes to take off her coat, and then she walks by a mirror. And all of a sudden, we see her, and it looks like Bessie Braddock, and they look horrible. And they're like conjoined twins. It looks really gruesome. And she kind of doesn't know what to make of it. And then John's like, are you okay? And then Quantum's like, yeah, I'm fine. When really, she is not. Like, it kind of ended with a taxidermy like a wet fart. But whatever he did, he stirred up something in her. So hopefully this will be pretty good.